Good morning, Deb Salonen here. I'd like to read you a little snippet from my new book that's releasing today, His or Her Baby. How the heck long does it take to tell your girlfriend you might have a kid from an illicit affair? Sarah muttered under her breath, pounding the steering wheel with the heel of her hand. The inanity of her question struck her after the fact and made her shake her head. She didn't know the first thing about Wren Bishop or Eve Masterson. Maybe he could persuade her it was a huge mistake and he regretted it with all his heart. Maybe she loved him so much she could forgive him, and they were, at this very moment, making mad, passionate love. For some reason, the idea made her stomach heave. She knew she should go home, but she'd waited too long. The bottle of warm diet soda Kenesha had left in the car, which Sarah had finished off half an hour earlier, was causing all sorts of discomfort in her bladder. Squeezing her legs together, Sarah sat up straighter and looked around. The neighborhood sported wide streets, gracious front yards, and mature trees that bespoke a slower period when wealthy people gathered together to outdo each other face to face instead of on half-acre lots in the suburbs. Wren's house, by no means the most luxurious on the block, fell into what Sarah believed was called the neoclassical revival period of architecture. A spasm of discomfort made her groan. "I need a bathroom, and quick." A pair of headlights brought a flash of hope. "Wren?" The car slowed, but a reflection off its bank of patrol car lights made Sarah sink down in her seat. Not a good position for a bladder. When the car was gone, Sarah opened the door. "If I have to choose between unlawful entry and indecent exposure, I'll take my chances with Wren." She tucked her purse under her arm and with nonchalance born of desperation walked to the house. Two decorative coach lights illuminated the wide covered porch. She pretended to drop her purse, spilling out Brady's crayons like pickup sticks. While kneeling to retrieve them, she peeked under the smallest flower pot to the right of the ornately carved door. To her relief, a single brass key was indeed where Beau had said it would be. She snatched it up and, as casually as possible, strolled back to the car. Brady made a few soft protests when she picked him up, but he was a sound sleeper and dropped his head back to her shoulder as she carried him up the brick walkway. The key fit, the door opened, and Sarah, who'd been holding her breath expecting some kind of alarm to sound, let out a sigh of relief. Beau was right. With the aid of a hallway light which was already on, Sarah was able to see into the room to her left, a large, very masculine-looking office. A handsome leather-tufted sofa occupied the wall closest to the door. She slipped inside and lowered Brady to the cushions. He stirred but didn't wake. "Just to be safe," she whispered. "Stay right here, honey. Mommy needs to find a potty." She dashed into the foyer and turned at the foot of the L-shaped staircase. There has to be a guest bath down here somewhere. She got lucky. First door to the right. A charming little room with an illuminated seashell above the porcelain basin, so she didn't have to turn on the overhead light. She did her business and washed her hands in record time, hurrying back to the office, which she had convinced herself she could return Brady to his car seat, rehide the key, and be on her way with no one the wiser. Her daydream dissolved the moment she stepped into the office and spotted an empty sofa. "Brady?" The tremor in her voice betrayed her panic. She turned on the bank of lights just inside the doorway, momentarily taken aback by the formal elegance of the room with its rose-colored paneling, leaded glass bow window, and massive antique desk that cried money. Sarah checked behind the heavy velvet curtains and under the waist-high globe stand. "Brady, honey, we don't have time to play. Where are you, sweetheart?" "Sarah?" a puzzled-sounding voice asked. She spun around, instantly registering the fact that there was a policeman at Wren's side. "Don't just stand there," she cried, torn between utter mortification and fear. "Find Brady before he breaks something." He dumped his coat and briefcase on the sofa and motioned her to follow. At the base of the staircase, he said, "You check down here, we'll go up." Sarah's heart was in her throat as she dashed toward the back of the house. Unless the house was equipped with child-proof latches, the kitchen was a dangerous playground. As she paused to flick on the light in the drab, unattractive dining room, she heard Wren tell the policeman, "He's 18 months old and he loves to hide." For some reason, Wren's calm demeanor helped stave off Sarah's panic, particularly when she zipped around the showy red and white kitchen without encountering the toddler. She noticed a fenced-in pool with the gate standing open in the well-manicured backyard, but the sliding door to the patio was securely locked. "Brady," she called, checking the pantry. "Where are you, sweetie?" In the distance, she heard Wren's voice. "Sarah, I found him." With relief, with a measure of hysteria, drove her toward the sound. She grabbed the solid wallet newel at the base of the stairs and hurried toward the muffled voices on the second floor. Wren and the officer met her at the landing where the staircase turned to the right. "Where is he?" "Sound asleep on my bed," Wren said, subtly positioning his body to keep her from moving past. "He's okay. I covered him up." "Did you forget to reset the alarm when you came in, ma'am?" the police officer asked her. Alarm?" Sarah grabbed the banister for support. It's a new unit, Officer Rivaldi," Wren said, coming to her rescue. "Sarah doesn't have it down pat yet. Half the time I forget to set it myself. We'll go over it as soon as you leave. Judge's honor." The cop laughed and trotted down the stairs. "Better safe than sorry. Had a burglary down the street last month, you know." Although Sarah's instincts told her to snatch Brady and run, she sensed Wren was waiting for her to descend the staircase. Reluctantly, she turned and slowly trudged downward, Wren right behind her. When they reached the tiled floor, Wren leaned past her to shake the officer's hand. His torso bumped her shoulder, making her flinch. "Thanks again. Sorry to have bothered you." The man touched 2 fingers to the brim of his hat. "No problem. Have a good evening." Wren walked him to the door and closed it securely. When he turned to face her, he nodded toward a discreet white box on the wall. "Alarm," he said, his voice kind and slightly amused. Sarah suddenly felt lightheaded, and her knees started to give out. She sank down on the bottom step, covered her face with her hands. "I can't believe this happened. You must think I'm some kind of nut." She looked up, fighting tears. "I just needed to use your bathroom." Wren, who had hurried to her side, as if fearful she might faint, burst out laughing. "My bathroom?" She couldn't bring herself to meet his eyes, so she tried to explain. "I came here to talk to you. I waited as long as I could, but you took so long and I had to go to the bathroom, and then Brady..." Taking a deep breath to stop her rambling, she pushed off from the step and lifted her chin. "Where is Brady? We need to go home." Wren graciously held out his hand, indicating she should go up the stairs ahead of him. "Do you mind telling me how you got in?" Sarah watched her feet to keep him from seeing her blush. "I just gambled that you might hide a key under the mat out front. Lucky me, there it was," she said, unable to keep the sarcasm from her tone. Wren's low chuckle made her stagger slightly. "A key? Next time I'll have the person who put the key there leave operating instructions for the alarm with it." Wren was being very understanding about this fiasco. An unpleasant thought crossed Wren's mind. If he planned to use mental instability as an argument against her in the future, she was certainly giving him fuel. At the top of the U-shaped landing, Sarah paused, her gaze drawn to a collection of framed photographs on the wall. Unconsciously, she studied the faces, searching for familiar features and hoping she wouldn't find any. A black and white snapshot in a silver frame showed a tall man and a little boy walking hand in hand down a boat dock. Except for the clothing and unfamiliar background, the shot could have been Wren and Brady. "Me and my dad," Wren said, noticing her interest. I think we'll end it there. But it's interesting and kind of interesting, yes, exciting. It gets very exciting. Two people who barely know each other, the only thing they have in common is a child that could be his, but it already is hers.